welcome back to another episode of Nydal. It's been a little while since my last actual build episode, and in case you missed it, there was a cinematics only video that I posted about a week and a half ago. I'm going to include the link in the description of this one in case you want to check that out if you haven't yet, or if you want to see it again. I don't know, but yeah, I'm in a new place. I'm in a new apartment. I have my own room to be able to record these videos. It may sound a little weird, maybe a little bit echoey, because there's way less items in this room that would help with all the bouncing of these sound waves or reverberation in layman terms. But I don't know. I think through my headphones it's sounding mostly okay. Maybe by the time I actually listen to the full mix of this video, it will either sound terrible or not. In which case I'll get some like acoustic foam or something like that to make it sound better. But if it sounds weird, that's why. Also, it's been a long day, so I'm a little bit tired, but I was really excited to get this video out because it's been a while, man. In fact, as I'm recording this, it's the night before I did a live stream, which has been long asked or awaited by many of you, which is one of these live stream / tutorial things that I've been doing lately. It's basically about, or it's going to be mostly about terrain differences, on how to deal with having a lot of fluctuations in the terrain and having sort of seamless transitions between your different builds. So in case you missed that, I'm going to include a link in the description to the full VOD, and there's going to be timestamps for sure. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to format this, but there's going to be some shortcuts so that you don't have to watch the whole thing if you're looking for something very specific. In any case, in this episode, I focused mostly on details. I did expand the city just a little bit towards this hill in the back, but for the most part, I was trying to sort of tie a lot of loose ends. It's we've been expanding quite a bit, and I've been leaving some things undone, which is not usually what I like doing, because then like the more you postpone that, you know, I feel like that never gets actually done. So I spent some time making sure that as we move forward in this direction, you know, things are kind of complete and not have a lot of unfinished projects. Though I was realizing that there's probably like, I don't know, like 10, 15 unfinished like little triangles, and by triangles I mean like those like empty lots in between, you know, buildings and parks and roads and things like that need a little bit of love of some kind. So what I'm thinking of doing, I think I'm probably gonna tackle that during a live stream. I don't know, at some point soon, because it's a little bit annoying at this point. I'm just that feeling of having a lot of unfinished tiny little projects, not that much fun. And I feel like adding details on a live stream is actually much more efficient than actually expanding the city. Last time, I mean, in general, when I live stream, and I need to sort of be like not talking and like really thinking about what I'm doing. So, but you know, that's actually expanding the city during a live stream is not the most amazing thing, or at least it doesn't yield very good results, because I later end up removing almost everything I do and redo it again. Now when it comes to details, I'm mostly okay with the results, and I have basically chat to tell me what to do, so that also helps quite a bit. But I'll definitely keep you posted on whenever I decide to actually live stream that, hopefully soon. Let's see, what are we doing here? Yeah, so I ended up moving some buildings around, buildings that we put down a couple episodes ago, but I decided to sort of expand this modern area and add a few more residential buildings that sort of fit the theme, or at least the style of this neighborhood. And also, I was using this clipped building inside of this bigger building to add details to a wall, basically a side wall that didn't look very detailed. And I decided to sort of extrude that out because, I don't know, I kind of like the solar panels that it has on the top. I think it just makes things a little bit more interesting. Though this clusters of trees that you see on the screen right now, I'm like, this doesn't look that good. At least not in that form. So I don't know if you have actually caught that on camera, but you're gonna see me delete that in just a second. Here, the camera froze for whatever reason. I think I was just focus on something else. In fact, I had to cut a couple clips of, because like I was recording and then suddenly like the FedEx guy showed up, and I had to like I totally forgot that I was recording. So yeah, there may be another one of those random freezes in the middle, but hopefully it took care of all of the rest. Another thing that I'm trying here is combining, basically in general, I'm just sort of combining all these techniques about dealing with the terrain differences to keep it interesting. Now, this squiggly road, this like Lombard Street-like road that I have here, I'm still not super sure what I'm going to do with it. Originally, I thought I wanted houses to sort of be alongside that road, but I feel like the terrain difference is so high that I tried a couple houses and it just didn't look right at all. So what I think I'm going to do instead is just make it a park, just like a little trail where cars can drive and people can walk up and down. I don't know, maybe some stairs and definitely mostly foliage. In fact, right behind that modern white building, we're going to have some sort of a park. Basically, at the top of that hill, there's going to be a big landmark. It's not going to a big landmark. It's not going to be a castle. That's not what I'm planning for that. It's going to be a big building, but it's going to be sort of surrounded by a park with trees and things of that nature. So stay tuned for that. I don't know if that's going to happen in the next episode or when, but it will happen sooner rather than later. And another thing that I decided to do is sort of extend those empty lots that you see back there with, well, in this case, putting down a playground, since the people living around this area are, it's just mostly residential. There are a few offices here and there, but for the most part, this is all zoned green. If that was a thing, or if I actually zoned anything at all, it would look green. But as I detail this little park, I sort of thought, okay, across the street from this, instead of adding more modern buildings, I do want to start transitioning back to the aesthetic that we've been working on, well, since the beginning of the series. So I'm going to copy some houses. You're going to see this in just a second, I think. I'm going to copy some houses from a neighborhood that we worked on a while back. And, decided to extend the neighborhood towards that hill. Now, since this is all going to be sort of a public park, I decided to add a few more benches and did my best with the concrete to sort of make everything look nice. There's still some of those weird cuts that happen when you use surface painter alongside a road or something like that. But, combining brushes, surface painter, and the texture that comes with the road sort of gets good results every once in a while. Now, over here, I'm really happy with how this area came out. This ended up being some sort of like courtyard, like gated courtyard. It's not totally closed because, there's no doors. You can still walk in. But, that really thin pedestrian path, I love how it looks, but it's kind of buggy. Sometimes it carves this like infinite hole in the ground. Sometimes it's just, the grass sort of grows, the grass sprites sort of grow through it. I think it's because it's too thin and the game doesn't like it. Even though everything is perfectly flat, at least that whole area, I just leveled everything with Move It. And I still get those sort of grass sprites growing in between. Don't get me wrong, I love those grass sprites. I definitely don't want to remove them. I know that there's an option in the settings to remove them. I do not want to do that. I love how they look elsewhere, just not there. But in order to sort of counteract that style, I decided to keep the landscaping of that whole elevated sort of platform to look a little bit rougher so that it would fit in a little bit better. In fact, this building, this modern tall building that I'm working on right now, I ended up just putting all these keys to keep the same level as the road sort of meets the same level. Now, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do on the water side of things. I might actually just put down some retaining walls or just extend the beach a little bit. In fact, there's definitely a couple projects that I want to do by the water, like a marina, for example, but I'm not entirely sure what the best spot for that is. It's probably not this one, actually, now that I think about it. But that's certainly a project that's coming sooner rather than later, so stay tuned for that. And, the rest of this, at least all this specific build, is just me making sure that all these gaps that are at different levels sort of match one another, and they look right. These are some of the houses that I was mentioning a second ago that I copied from the other side of the map and put them in place to sort of keep extending the neighborhood that way. Now this interesting area that we have here. So there's a big parking lot road clipped in between all these buildings. The lower road and the higher road, there's like a big terrain difference, and this one's kind of sitting in the middle, kind of clipping all these buildings at once. This, I love how it came out, actually, because it has like all these like staggered parking lots that don't really follow any specific design. Everything is like very non-symmetrical, non-balanced, and I think that was a look that I really like. So just putting down some bollards on critical areas that maybe a car would run into and damage property of some kind. I ended up putting way more bollards than I needed, so I ended up removing a few. You're going to see them in much greater detail in the cinematics at the end. But I don't know, with the decals and everything else, I think this area looked really good, and it's a great way to transition between the different, just that whole cluster of buildings. It's certainly at different high levels. Just a few more planters here and there for good measure. And the cool thing is that cars are actually using it, at least to some degree. We have most people just taking mass transit, which is great. We have very little car traffic in the city, even though, I'm kind of doing everything you're not supposed to, which is funnel a lot of traffic between just through one area, basically. But having the trams do move a lot of people, and I ended up adding enough shortcuts near the main train station and all these other neighborhoods that actually distributes all the people in a very efficient way, actually. So here I am copying more of these buildings, pasting them there, and some of them look older looking, but for the most part, they're all like pretty modern. So the transition between the ultra modern offices that I put down there and these ones is not too hard. Now, as you can see here, some of these doors and windows are kind of clipped in half. And, there isn't a whole lot I can do about that, unfortunately, mainly because these buildings are meant to be, in horizontal positions. I could flatten everything out if I wanted, but I don't know, just the buildings kind of following the terrain differences. It's something that I like a lot. I think it adds a lot of character and detail to the city, so I decided to, look the other way on having a garage door being cut in half by the terrain. As long as the door is kind of level with the road, as you can see here, I'm mostly okay with it. And probably, unless I pointed this out, many of you probably won't even notice, so I guess works that way as well. There's so many like mistakes and flaws all over the city that you probably never even registered, but it will be my little secret, or one of many secrets. Okay, so going back to this neighborhood, I when I was working on this, I got a bit of a brain freeze there, but when I was working on this, I was thinking of just being the last row of houses before the hill. And as I was putting down these houses, I'm like, oh, this actually looks really nice. Let's see if we can extend it and add more density. So what I'm doing here is just adding another layer, another block behind the main road that will also have all kinds of buildings. And then we're going to transition into this top hill, which is going to have that landmark that I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. So that's where it's going to be sitting. Hopefully you like it. I think it's going to come out great. It's a great looking asset. I actually met the author in real life, but I'm not going to talk about that now. That's going to be a topic of discussion in the next episode, or the one, or whenever I actually do that. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in the next one or not. But here's the before and after that you've probably been waiting for. It may not seem like I added a ton of progress to this, but trust me, I put a lot of hours into getting this all nice and detailed. And hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please consider giving this video a like. And if you're new to the channel and just stumble upon this video and you like what you see, you can subscribe. That way you're notified next time I post a video, or next time I do tutorial live stream thingies. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all for now. I'm excited to get back into things. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in the next one.